Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, May 21, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I really appreciate the fact that I asked you guys to give me at least 120 likes on yesterday's video, and I actually got up to 200 or more. I'm not asking for anything specific for today's video. Feel free to like the video, subscribe if you haven't yet done so, share this video with your friends, your relatives, and your church brethren so that we can build this weather community. Also, leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like here recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this map that's showing the upper level wind pattern and the jet stream across the United States into portions of the Caribbean. All of this that we're seeing right here is associated with a trough, and we can see the trough right here, definitely right there off to the west of the Caribbean. All of these upper level winds are being pushed off from the southwest across the island, which explains the bad weather that we've been having today. If we take a look back at the rainbow satellite images, we can see those high cold cloud tops over Cuba being pushed off towards the south, and we can see the high cold cloud tops over Jamaica being pushed off towards the north and the east, associated with the trough. So there's a lot of bad weather taking place, a lot of moisture, a lot of convergence, and most Jamaicans are here for it. We need a break from the very warm temperatures that we've been experiencing for the past couple of weeks. So we'll take it as long as there's not, damage, flooding, or a death. So taking a look back at the trough, we're gonna be focusing our attention on the precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS. We're only gonna be going out to the next 3 days, up to at least 72 hours. So focus your attention on the forecast hour right here and the date, and focus your attention right here across portion of the Central and Western Caribbean, including Jamaica. Alright, so let's go out in time to the next 72 hours. So we can see that even as early as tomorrow, so this map is showing 6Z on a Wednesday, which is actually 1 a.m. We still see a lot of moisture right there, especially to the waters to the south and the east of Jamaica, to the south of Haiti. That's on the Euro model going out in time. Even by 12Z, which is actually 7 a.m., we still see a lot of moisture. And going out in time, we see that it even spills into Thursday as well. There's a lot more rainfall to come. Well, that's according to the Euro model. This is the Euro model, and we're gonna be stopping right there. What does the GFS model show for the same time period? Let's go out in time. So we can see 7 a.m. having most of the moisture out towards the southeast of the island, that's represented by the yellows, and the oranges represent the most heavy rainfall, or the heaviest rainfall right there. Then as we go out, we see that most of that moisture starts to push out towards the east and to the north of there, and then by the end of the 72 hours, most of the moisture associated with that broad area of low pressure should be to the north of the Dominican Republic. And we can also see, if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast, that the rainfall is definitely going to be here. We see the rainfall represented by the blues and the purples right here, and we can see that for the next 72 hours, especially eastern Jamaica right here is going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. We see the purples that represent up to 2 to even up to 6 inches of rainfall, as we can see by the key on the right. And the thing is, some of this rainfall could already be falling as we speak, based on what we've been experiencing on Tuesday afternoon, especially across sections of some northern and eastern parishes in Jamaica. If we take a look at the GFS, we're seeing that there's some amount of difference in what we saw yesterday. Yesterday we saw most of the rainfall that would have been affecting portions of the Dominican Republic, but look at that, there's a flip. Most of the rainfall is right there now off towards the south of Haiti. Well, it's expected according to the GFS model, and we see more of that rainfall starting to come into portions of Jamaica as well. So this is what I'm talking about. The models, they're not set in stone. They will show something one day and another the other day. We just have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds, and we actually see the change in the forecast on both the Euro and the GFS malls. And who knows, it might show us something different by the next run at the 0Z run. So we just have to, you know, stay updated. I'll be here early tomorrow morning with a brand new update based on exactly what's happening. And the thing about these troughs, they can definitely cause a lot of rainfall, but at the same time, most of that rainfall could be out to sea, or it could be elsewhere that, you know, shouldn't be getting the rainfall. Some persons want the rainfall a lot. These troughs can be very unpredictable, bringing some heavy, tremendous rainfall that can bring some life-threatening flash flooding sometimes. And on the other hand, the troughs are more chill, bringing more of that rainfall out to sea. So we just have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt sometimes. Alright, so let us take a look at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the US National Hurricane Center. We can see that as of 7:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Tuesday, May 21, they have nothing expected across the Atlantic within the next 7 days. However, if we take a look at the US Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazard Outlook, we know they come out with these every Tuesday, and we see the forecast here at the bottom left. That's Novella, and they posted this today. So we're going to be focusing our attention across the Caribbean right here, including Jamaica, and we see that this is valid for May 29 to June 4th. And what do we see? We see some amount of light shades of greens across portions of Jamaica, spilling down into sections of Central America right there, and we can see all of what this means on the key on the bottom. It represents the low end of the scale in terms of above average rainfall. So if this actually validates, we might get in on some more rainfall after this rainfall that we're currently experiencing this week. Even the following week, June 5 to June 11, we're seeing even more of that green that represents above normal rainfall. And we're even seeing some red and white colors in there that we can see on the key on the bottom left that represents some amount of tropical cyclone formation probability. So they're saying that there's a chance that we might see something trying to spin up, maybe an area of low pressure, maybe possibly getting into tropical depression or tropical storm status. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. We know that what the US Climate Prediction Center shows on these outlooks are not set in stone, so we have to take them with a grain of salt. But I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with exactly what happens. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see the trough that we mentioned still affecting the Greater Antilles, including Jamaica, represented by these broken orange lines. We can see the ridge of high pressure still responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds being pushed from east to west, all courtesy of that low level flow of wind brought about by the ridge of high pressure. We can see those high cold cloud tops associated with the thunderstorms being blown off towards the northeast across the Greater Antilles, all courtesy of the upper level winds from that trough. We can also see a lot of that taking place across northern South America as well as the usual thunderstorm activity across sections of northern South America, so Venezuela, section of Panama, Costa Rica, Colombia, section of Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana as well. We will be talking more about the weather across the Caribbean later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. So if you remember yesterday's video, we stated that there was some amount of disagreement with where the rainfall would have been expected. The GFS was showing more of that rainfall across sections of some northern parishes during the afternoon. Euro wasn't showing much of that. Euro was showing more of that rainfall out to sea to the south of some southern parishes in Jamaica. And if we actually take a look at what happened, both models verified, because northern Jamaica definitely got that rainfall in the afternoon, and some of that rainfall from the waters to the south of the island definitely made it ashore, especially across the southeastern portion of the island. Section of Manchester got in some of the action, St. Elizabeth, definitely sections of Westmoreland, Savannah, Lamar, Negril, as well as section of St. Andrew and St. Thomas got in some amount of thunderstorm activity. So let's take a look at what exactly took place. First of all, last night into early this morning, sections of some northwestern parishes were getting it. They were definitely getting in on a lot of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Definitely some thunderstorm activity across sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, right there, as we can see by this infrared satellite image. You know, the sparkling white dots represent some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. And we see those high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, the greens, the yellows, the oranges, the reds. They definitely got a lot of rainfall there last night into the early morning hours this morning. And we even have confirmation. This is a blast Instagram page actually posted a video highlighting the crazy amount of lightning strikes across the region. So if we even take a look, if this, okay, it's not loading at all, but they definitely were getting in on a lot of lightning strikes across sections, if not lightning flashes, across those areas. File doesn't want to load at all, no problem. So it would have shown a lot of lightning strikes across the skies to the west of St. James, right there near Hanover. They were definitely getting in on that bad weather last night, late last night into early this morning. And we even have some confirmation from some of our followers of what exactly took place. Taking a look at what took place as the day progressed, this is 1:51 p.m. and this post was made on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we definitely saw what the GFS was forecasting for section of northern parishes in Jamaica. So we definitely had that thunderstorm activity taking place across section of Portland, section of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, section of St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland got in on the action. And then we saw some of the weather coming into section of St. Elizabeth, St. Thomas, right there in the east. So that indeed confirms the rainfall for northern Jamaica and section of some southern parishes by the Euro model. And we saw it all even better on the rainbow satellite images that were posted, definitely showing a lot of activity across Jamaica. Look at all of these high cold cloud tops, all of these yellows, gold and orange colors represent a lot of thunderstorm activity. And some of our followers are definitely confirming the bad weather. PG876 stating definitely rained in St. James. Alison Segre stating it's pouring in Savannah Lamar, and she posted a GIF right here showing that rainfall across a playground. We also have Fest Genius stating get little of the rain though too windy. Even on our Facebook page we have Shawnee Reynolds stating raining in St. Andrew. Delora Hines is finally here. Mr. Weatherman, you're spot on. Tower Isle, St. Mary, rain. Even on our Instagram page we have some of the confirmation. Tammy underscore trouble stating Sav is indeed getting it. Then my girl underscore lollipop stating flood right out. Then we have Bay underscore Vu stating loving the rain here in Hanover. I am Denden77 stating nice and cool in Hanover. Then we have Melissa.Sutherland32 rain, thunder and lightning in Portland. Your morning dew 876 stating my kind of weather raining in Yallas, St. Thomas. Things underscore in underscore my underscore closet underscore by underscore share stating it's raining in Ocho Rios. Nikisha.96 stating raining in St. Elizabeth. Then we have another comment here from underscore dot underscore Ryan stating got some heavy thunderstorms in Hanover. Then S.Kelly underscore 32 we sleeping good tonight. Alright, so taking a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see where we had that thunderstorm activity building across sections of St. Thomas, Portland, section of St. Andrew as well. Not to mention sections of southern St. Elizabeth, Manchester got in on the action. But we saw that by evening hours, most of that was clearing out, especially across the west. But we still had that activity across section of the waters to the south and the east of the island. And we can see it all even better right now. Let's reload these images of the infrared satellite images. So we have the latest. What's happening now? So the time is 7:41 p.m. So we're seeing the visible satellite images from that 0:25. So that's about 7:25 p.m. And we can definitely see that we still have a lot of thunderstorm activity, especially off towards the south of the island right there. We see the high cold cloud tops. Definitely gonna be a cloudy night across the island. Not seeing much stars at all. And the thing about this trough, we might wake up to definitely some more rainfall. We might get on a lot of rainfall tonight, a lot of thunderstorm activity as well. Or we could wake up to clear skies and then most of the weather happens during the afternoon. That's the thing about these troughs. They can be very unpredictable. We just have to hope for the best. Hopefully there's no loss of life. Hopefully there's no tremendous flash flooding taking place. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. I am pleased to announce that the GFS model is showing 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. And look right there, portions of Jamaica, including Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, are going to be getting anywhere from average, which we know is represented by degrees, to below average temperatures. So it's not going to be hot tomorrow at all, and we're indeed grateful for that. We know the average temperatures for the month of May are about the same as 31 degrees Celsius. We know right here 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31 degrees Celsius. So with the temperatures expected to be below average, so this is what some blues represent, what maybe up to at least 1 degree Celsius below normal, or maybe at least 2 degrees Celsius below normal, especially across the east of the island. We should be receiving anywhere from, let's say, 29 to 30 or 31 degrees Celsius at most. Taking a look at the dry air map, we're starting to see a break in the amount of dry air, especially across the Greater Antilles. We're seeing more blues than anything else. You know, the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, the whites within those reds. We do see a lot of dry air across the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of dry air is off the coast of Africa right there. And we're indeed grateful that section of the Caribbean are going to be receiving more in the way of some moist air. All of this, all courtesy of the trough that's affecting the area. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we still see that, yes, the Saharan dust is dwindling, especially across the eastern Caribbean, but it's still trailing and it's still affecting portions of the Greater Antilles. We can see as represented by these brown colors, and we see all of this being stretched all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean. So sections of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, southern and the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, sections of the Dominican Republic, definitely still gonna be getting in on some more Saharan dust, some slight hazy skies, maybe triggering some respiratory illnesses in some people. So ensure that you have your meds handy. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're definitely going to be seeing an increase in the amount of wave heights, especially off to the south and east of the island, as we can see these purples. Now we can see by the key on the bottom right that represents anywhere from 2 to up to even 3 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are going to be a bit strong. The Euro is a bit conservative with the wind forecast showing more brighter shades of greens that represent up to 20 knot winds at most. But we do see some spots of yellows in there that represent up to 25 knots. The GFS is robust, showing a lot of these gold colors, maybe yellows as well, that represent 25, maybe even gusting up to 30 knot winds, coming in from the east southeast for the most part. So if we're going to be receiving some amount of rainfall, most of this is going to be coming from up the sea, coming into a special section of some southern parishes. If we don't get in on that morning rainfall, afternoon rainfall is definitely expected, and we might see all of that rainfall piling up across section of the northern portion of the island as well. And with the upper level winds still expected to come in from the southwest. We might see more of that rainfall across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica again during the afternoon. Something just like what happened today. Either way, taking a look at the forecast from both the Euro and the GFS models, we're still expecting some rainfall to linger tonight. It's already lingering in my area. I can hear it outside. I can hear the thunder. Hopefully there are no power outages tonight. But this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 12 a.m. Jamaica time. So midnight, this is what we're seeing. The GFS is showing those blues that represent rainfall surrounding the island as well as across the island. So more rainfall definitely in store tonight. The Euro showing something similar with the rainfall surrounding the island, more so than across the island like what the GFS is showing. Either way, we have rainfall in the forecast and we're indeed grateful for that. We'll see exactly what unfolds. As stated earlier, these troughs can be very tricky. In the daytime on Wednesday now, this map from the GFS and this map from the Euro, they're both showing 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 11 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see? We see a lot of rainfall, especially on the Euro model. Look at all of these blues, greens, even yellows, oranges in there that represent some heavy rainfall. Look at this, a lot in terms of millimeters of rainfall expected. GFS not so robust. We see the blues represent rainfall, especially across the south and the east. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 1 p.m. we still see that there's some amount of rainfall affecting the island, and some of this rainfall could definitely go straight into the night. And both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that somewhere in Jamaica is going to be receiving some amount of rainfall within the next 24 hours. Both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we see that the Euro model is a bit more robust, showing more in the way of rainfall. Was represented by these reds that represent up to 1 inch of rainfall, as you can see by the key on the right. Even some purples in there that represent what, up to 3 inches of rainfall or more. GFS not so robust with what the Euro is showing at all. GFS showing that rainfall across western and eastern portions of the island especially. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We'll see which one of the maps win. Who knows, maybe both of them might win, just like what happened today again. And we're indeed grateful for the rainfall that we're going to be experiencing. As you know, we're in the month of May. We usually receive up to 213 millimeters of rainfall during this month. And maybe this trough is actually making up for all of the very hot and dry weather that we've been experiencing in mid-May thus far. Because we know that early part of May actually had some amount of rainfall. And then we had that dry spell. But now we're back into getting in on that rainfall. So we might be on track or getting back there in terms of the actual rainfall across the island that we're expecting during the month of May. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we saw a lot of activity building across the central and western Caribbean associated with that trough right there. We saw all of that thunderstorm activity flaring up before the sun went down. We can see that we have some amount of clouds pushing into section of the Leeward Islands, some thunderstorm activity across section of Colombia, section of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, as usual, section of Panama, Costa Rica. This is nothing new. They're used to that weather. But what about the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean? So we definitely saw that they were getting on some rainfall today. Even right now, some areas are experiencing some amount of rainfall. So if we actually take a look at the images from earlier today, yes, section of northwestern Puerto Rico, we're definitely getting on some afternoon rainfall. Some rainfall coming in from the south across section of the US Virgin Islands, section of the Leeward Islands getting on the action as well, section of St. Kitts and Nevis, maybe some hit or miss showers across section of Antigua and Barbuda, some rainfall to the east of Guadeloupe. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we don't see much happening across Barbados right now. It might get in on a few sprinkles coming in from the east later on tonight, but we do see that most of that rainfall is off to the north of there, pushing to the west to affect section of Martinique, section of St. Lucia right there. We can also see some rainfall right there to the east of Grenada, so maybe section of Grenada might get in on the action. Some of this rainfall might spill into section of Tobago. It's already happening. Not seeing much happening across Trinidad right now at all. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see all of that thunderstorm activity that took place across section of Cuba, section of central Cuba today, and we do see those sprinkles in terms of rainfall that we just mentioned across section of Colombia, as well as section of French Guiana that we saw in the visible satellite images just now. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we're indeed grateful that majority of the Caribbean should be experiencing those gray colors, if not those blue colors that represent average to some below average temperatures. But we do see some yellows dotting the area, especially right there, ABC Island, section of the Windward Islands, section of Northern South America, Central America still being plagued by all of that heat represented by those darker reds. But I'm sure the areas that are not getting the way above normal temperatures are indeed grateful for that. As relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we do see that the Saharan dust is starting to dwindle. We're seeing more so of those lighter shades of browns, especially the Eastern Caribbean, definitely getting in on a break. But we do see the Saharan dust still across sections of the waters of the main development region. And who knows, maybe this might be setting up for a blast towards the west to affect section of the Caribbean again with a vigorous plume. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get a break. Hopefully we don't get in on much of the Saharan dust anymore, but we know that's not gonna happen at all. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see the highest waves should be across the waters to the east of Jamaica, as represented by those purples. We know that represents up to 2 to even 3 meter wave heights, and that's because the trough is gonna be doing a number on us in Jamaica with all of those yellows that represent some 25, maybe even up to 30 knot winds, and we see the general direction from the east. Elsewhere should be getting in on those bluish greens, those brighter shades of greens from the east, curving northward into the Gulf of Mexico. That will now represent anywhere from 15 to 20 knots. Now let's get into the meat of the matter. Where is the rainfall expected within the next 24 hours? So we can see that there's definitely going to be some more rainfall across sections of let me use a different color right here. So some more rainfall across section of the Greater Antilles. Both the Euro and the GFS are in consensus with it that most rainfall is expected right here, where we're going to be receiving that rainfall associated with the trough. So sections of the waters to the southeast of Jamaica, south of Haiti, section of the Dominican Republic going to be getting on some tremendous rainfall. Anybody out to sea getting on that bad weather, they're gonna be in for it. Taking necessary precautions. If you have friends that go out for the fishing or whatever the case may be, tell them to stay on shore. Bad weather is here. We can also see some rainfall expected for sections of Cuba, sections of the Bahamas, section of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands. If they're not already getting that rainfall right now, they're definitely gonna get it within the next 24 hours. Section of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, section of Trinidad and Tobago, section of the ABC Island, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, section of southern Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador as well. And if we even look southward, we can see that there's definitely some amount of rainfall expected across section of Guyana, Suriname and French Guiana. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. And we know that when they're in consensus with this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.